Hi, my name is Dan Pontarelli. I've been a real estate broker and developer for over 30 years, Chicagoland metro area. Basically, I'm making these videos, a series of videos, that's going to touch on many aspects of the zoning of real estate, because I found that this is something which is very valuable and important when it comes to the highest and best use for your property. So I decided that I was going to do a series of several videos which will discuss the basics and some of the nuances of what it means when you have a certain zoning designation on your property. Basically, over the past 150 years is when most of the buildings in all of the United States have been built. Many municipalities, counties, states, I should say most of the things that I just mentioned, all have zoning designations, with the exception of, from what I understand, Houston does not have any zoning requirements. It's strictly by economics. So the next thing then that we're going to talk about is the actual zoning designation of your property. Now, the zoning designation, as an example, on a single family home or a 2-unit building has a residential zoning designation. At the other far end of the spectrum, an M zoning going from M1 to the highest, maybe M3 or M4. They change according to governmental body, but generally if it's an M zoning, it's manufacturing. You could do anything from smelt steel to grow marijuana, and then it goes down from there. You would have commercial zoning or retail zoning or business zoning or multiple family zoning. Multiple family zoning and mixed use could be a low intensity, maybe a store with a few apartments. It could be a very high intensity and be a high-rise zoning for the core of any given municipality. So the zoning designation, in zoning designations there are many, and there are usually descriptive information for each zoning designation online within your governmental body, meaning state, county, or municipality. So the next item is, in those zoning designations, you have a list of allowable or permitted uses. The allowable or permitted uses would be an example, I think I mentioned that before, but especially on retail, everything from, clothes store, haberdashery, let's say gas station, tattoo parlor, tavern, restaurant. When you look online and you see the allowable and permitted uses in your zoning designation, you'll be very surprised at how many there are within your zoning designation. Usually there's many more than you would imagine that you'd have. So also within those allowable and designated, or rather permitted uses within the zoning designation, there are also what are classified as special uses, which are uses that the municipality, or let's say the governing body, let's call it that, they are putting it out there that you can request within your zoning designation by application and special request a special use within that designation. So the next thing that I want to talk about briefly, which is quite an expansive item within, or rather subject within the zoning category, are bulk and loading requirements. All your zoning designations will have, normally, bulk and loading requirements. That will tell you things like how many apartments you can have on a given parcel, or how many parking spaces you need for a given use, or how big of a building you can build according to the size property that you have. The most least intense example would be a floor area ratio, or taking a 5,000 square foot lot and you can build a 2,500 square foot house on it, which would be a 0.50 floor area ratio. Conversely, let's say it's a high-rise zoning, you can do times 10, So if you had a 20,000 square foot lot, you can build a 200,000 square foot building. It's kind of simple, but it also gets involved with the nuances of it, such as some of those square footages cannot be below grade. They have to be above grade. And anyway, there's many, many nuances. But your bulk and loading is quite technical, and it's also available online. Sometimes that's what we're here for. We want to help you understand all the nuances of your zoning and help you get the most out of your property. Okay, so the other thing is an interesting historical item because it's called the amortization of a non-conforming use. A simple example of that would be that after World War II in the United States, they allowed more relaxed residential zoning codes so that if relatives had soldiers coming back from World War II, they had allowed apartments to be built above or behind existing structures throughout many municipalities throughout the United States. However, most of these zoning designations that allowed that were changed between the mid-50s and late 60s so that they did away with some of these small apartments and apartments to the rear of houses because they were either not too well accepted by the neighborhoods as a whole, or the city planners and governmental bodies decided that they should change the zoning and make the zoning designations more formalized or restrictive. Therefore, these zoning uses, as an example of that non-conforming use, having a little apartment above the home or behind the home, if that building burned down, the new zoning would not allow you to rebuild the exact same property. Therefore, the amortization of or the removal of the non-conforming use. And within that, there's other nuances, but in general, that's what the amortization of non-conforming use is. If you have a non-conforming use and it's operating perfectly, providing you don't do a major remodeling, you could continue to operate it. If you did a major remodeling, they would make you remove that non-conforming use. But that's what we have for today, and I hope to be showing you or doing another video for you to really dig in a little bit further on some of these zoning issues. Nice. Oh, I'm sorry. Please contact me either by phone or by email. Dan Pontarelli, 773-370-2509, drp@realtychicago.com, 370-2509, 773 area code, drp@realtychicago.com. Thank you.